Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video we are going over my everyday makeup drawer from July and also making my picks going forward for the month of August. Let's start with primer. The first one here is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Coconut 3-in-1 Primer Water. So I have read through this quite a few times and I do really enjoy using it. It smells really nice. With regards to the primer aspects of it, I've not noticed it increasing my makeup in any way. I don't think it's the best product that way, but I do like using it because it is nice, refreshing to use. It's say prep, set and refresh, so you might be able to use it as a setting spray. I haven't used it in that context. I've only used it before applying my makeup. This is the other primer that I had in here, which is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, and I've used this alone and this in combination with this. And to be honest, when I use it with this, it is a bit better. It does make my skin a little bit more moisturised before I start, whereas when I use it alone, I don't notice the best improvement in the base I'm putting my foundation onto. I really love this primer and I've been using it for a good few months now. A little goes a long way. It feels really nice on the skin and I feel like it does blur my pores a little bit more and give me a good base to start. I think I'm going to take this one out, keep this one in so I compare it with the other one that I've got, but I am going to take this one out for next month. On to the foundations I used. The first one is this Catrice HD Liquid Coverage. I got this one in the shade Rose Beige. This is a really nice foundation. I'm not overly keen on the applicator with it being a dropper because it is quite liquidy, so you do have to be quite quick to apply it. But I found the best way is to squeeze it directly onto my sponge and then apply it to my face, rather than trying to squeeze this onto my face or even onto the back of my hand because it just runs everywhere. But it is a really nice foundation. I just don't think this shade is 100% match for me. It is slightly too dark. It looks okay when it goes on, but I did find that it did oxidise. So I might try and pick up another one of these because it's not too expensive and try one of the different shades. The tone of this is nice because it is a rose beige, so the undertones of this are more pinky, which I think suits my skin. I don't tend to suit kind of yellow toned foundations. I don't know if my perfect match is out there with this foundation. I do really enjoy it and I am hoping I can use it up, but it's definitely not one I'd pull out in the winter. The other foundation I've been using is the Wet n Wild Cushion Foundation. And I absolutely love this foundation. It is really lightweight, it is really comfortable when applying it. It literally feels like you have nothing on your skin and it's a really nice shade match for me. This one I got in the shade Cream Ivory. Most foundations I do tend to go towards the ivory shade. I don't use the applicator that it comes with. I do just press my sponge into the cushion. It doesn't take many pushes into the cushion to get a full use. I probably only put my sponge into it twice, maybe 3 times, and I get a decent amount of coverage. My preference is probably medium coverage, so for that it is ideal. And I say I'm really enjoying using this. It lasts well throughout the day and it kind of fades gracefully. It doesn't last all day long without fading in places, but it's not obvious when it's faded, which is the kind of foundation that I like. I am actually going to keep this one in for next month because I'm enjoying using it that much, and because it's so lightweight it's ideal for summer because it's not heavy on my skin. For setting powder I've been using the Maybelline Fit Me, and this is a loose setting powder which I do think I prefer to a pressed setting powder. I do feel like I get that bit extra coverage out of it. This is a fair light one, so it's actually one that does have a bit of coverage to it and I do really like it. I do have to be careful where I apply it. I've realised I can't apply this to my full face because I do get caking in some areas. But using it just on mainly my forehead and my kind of T-zone, it works great. Take it out for next month, but only because I've got another setting powder I haven't used for a while and I do want to give it some more love and see whether I prefer that or this one. For concealer, we have the Colourpop No Filter Concealer and I am in the shade Light 16. I really like this concealer. It is a pretty good shade match for me. It's more neutral than sort of yellow or pink, so I don't use it under my eyes because under my eyes I definitely need a more pink toned concealer. But for blemishes and just any other problem areas, it's a great concealer. It's a really nice consistency. It's not too thick, it's not too heavy, and it blends really nicely. I was going to keep this in for next month, but I do actually have one that I want to finish up, plus a couple of samples to try, so I am going to take it out, but I would highly recommend this concealer. And the other concealer is the one that's been in here since the beginning, and this is the YSL Touche Eclat. I'm in the shade 1. This is the one that I solely use under my eyes. It doesn't have the highest amount of coverage, but I feel because of the shade it is, it's a perfect shade match for under my eyes for covering the dark circles. I don't need the highest amount of coverage. I just need the kind of colour correction in that respect, even though it's not a colour corrector. And I just really enjoy using this. I did think this was going to run out, and it is slowly getting there because I'm having to pump an extra few times to get the product out. But it just seems to last forever. So even though it is quite a high-end product, I definitely feel like I've got my money's worth out of this because I've been using this for about a year at this point. So I am going to keep this in for next month. I don't think this is ever going to not be in my everyday makeup drawer because I love using it so much. And all the other concealers, I do try them a few times under my eyes and they don't seem to come close to this one. So I really rate this one. To set my under eyes, I use the e.l.f. HD Under Eye Setting Powder. This one is, again, another one finally getting to the end of it. There's not much left in there at all. I think I'll probably get another month out of this because I keep thinking it's going to run out and it just doesn't. I only pat the tiniest amount under my eyes just to set that concealer, so but it is a really good product. It does set nicely. So this is obviously going on to next month as well. Then for my brows, I have the Goof Proof brow pencil from Benefit and I am in the shade 3, and we have finally reached the end. I can't get any more out of this and it is done. It was actually only 2 days ago that I ran out of this, so we didn't pretty much get the full month out of it, which was good, but I do have another one in backup which I'm going to go straight into. I am thinking about purchasing a different shade though, because they do have kind of middle shades now. So this is shade 3. They've always had, I believe, 2 and 2.5, but they now have a 2.75. So I am quite tempted to give it a go because it does look slightly more cool toned than this. This is a fine shade match for me, but I do have to go quite lightly, otherwise my brows will end up a little bit too dark. So I am quite tempted to pick up the 2.75 for when this one runs out. But obviously this physical one is not going forward to next month. For complexion products, and the first one we have is this Tarte Amazonian Clay Blush, and this is in the shade Harmony. If you've seen my recent blush collection video on Friday, you will see that this was included. It didn't have as much missing as this from it because I did actually film that video about 2 weeks ago and didn't get a chance to upload it. So it does have a lot more worn out of it than it did in that video, even though that video in your world's only a few days ago. But this is where we're up to with this one, making really good progress. I can't take this one out because I'm desperate to finish it now. But now that it seems to have broken pan, it is breaking up that bit quicker and I'm using it quicker. So I'm not going to hold out hopes it's going to be finished by the end of August, but fingers crossed. The other blush I have is the Balm Frat Boy blush, and this is another one that I've had in my everyday makeup drawer for a good while now and I'm really enjoying using it. But thanks to doing the blush video, I have now the ones that I want to pull in to try and see whether I want to keep them or not, because I haven't reached for them in a long time because I keep using this one. But really enjoy using this. It's such a nice warm shade. If you go light-handed, it's a nice flush of colour, but it can be quite pigmented if you build it up. So really rate this, but I'm taking this out for next month. Highlighter wise, I have the e.l.f. Shimmer Highlighting Powder, and this is in the shade Starlight Glow. This is a really nice highlighter. I use this as my everyday highlighter in replacement of my Mirror Luminizer, which has been in this drawer for a while now. And it is really nice. It's just slightly more glittery than the Mirror Luminizer. I do find that I sometimes end up with a bit of fallout further down my cheek than I applied this towards the end of the day. But for a drugstore highlighter, I would really recommend it. It is a kind of good dupe for the Mirror Luminizer shade wise. It's just ever so slightly more goldy. But once it applies and it's kind of blended into the cheeks, it's quite similar, apart from the fact that it's just slightly more chunky glitter wise. So I do really recommend this. To be honest, I was going to put Mirror Luminizer back in, but I think I'm going to give this one another month just to see, because if I am going to end up comparing it to Mirror Luminizer and always reaching for that over it, I might as well get rid of this. So I'm going to stick it back in for August. Bronzer wise, we have the Benefit Hoola Bronzer, and I've reached this a few more times this month. A bronzer is a step I always forget. When I'm just doing my everyday makeup, which doesn't consist of foundation, I don't tend to put bronzer on. I do only tend to reach for this when I've got foundation on. I do want to keep this in here for the sole reason of I have another one that I've not even touched and I would like to use up some more of my makeup. So I'm going to keep this one in for next month. Then my other highlighter is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow, and this is in the shade Precious Petals. This is the more bronzy one out of the two that I have. I was going to keep this in for August again, but I think I am going to switch it out for the other one, just because the other one is slightly brighter and more summery looking. But really rate this highlighter for the price of it. I think it's about £5. It's a really glowing highlighter. It's pretty long lasting as well, and I don't notice much fallout or anything from it, and it's just such a nice kind of blinding highlight, but not too blinding, which is what I kind of go for. And we have my eyeshadow primer. This is the Milani eyeshadow primer. I've actually not reached for this an awful lot this month. I don't tend to wear eyeshadow primer of a daily basis, even though I do wear eyeshadow every day now, or most days. I do only tend to wear this for a night out, which seems a bit backwards because when I'm on a night out, I've only got my eye makeup on for a few hours, whereas when I'm wearing it every day, I do have it on for 10 hours plus. But in the morning, I don't have time for the extra steps. I don't intend to apply it. It's probably why it was buried in this drawer, but I'm going to take a photo next month because it is my favourite eyeshadow primer. Then eyeliners. The first one is this Physicians Formula Eye Booster, and this is the 2-in-1 Lash Boosting Eyeliner and Serum. I just don't think this eyeliner is for me. I've tried it a good few times now and I just can't seem to get the effect that I want from it. It does have a super fine nib, but I find it is sometimes too fine of a line, and I do have to go over it quite a few times to make it show up, especially over shimmer eyeshadow. I don't think I ever do all matte look because I've always got some kind of shimmer in my eyeshadow, and I find that it does really struggle trying to apply it over it. I don't know if you can see on the tip there, but it is got glitter all over it because I'm constantly having to go over my eyeshadow to get the look that I want. So I'm glad to have tried it. I've not noticed any lash boosting qualities to it, but probably not used it enough to be honest. But I just don't feel like I can get the look I want in an easy swipe, which is what I'm kind of used to. So it's definitely not one of my favourites, but I will use it up because it's not the worst eyeliner. As you can see, it gives a nice straight line. The product does come out easily, but it just takes a little bit more work than what I'd like to do. So I'm going to take it out for next month, but I probably will pull it back in eventually to get some more use out of it. Then the other eyeliner I have is the Balm Swing eyeliner, and this is the one that I'd originally thought was the same style as that Physicians Formula one, but it's actually this is called Inkwell eyeliner, and this one is kind of the opposite of the Physicians Formula one, and this one is too wet. I end up with too much eyeliner, so I kind of like it somewhere in between, in that I can get enough darkness in one line, whereas this I end up getting too much darkness in one line. So this is another one. It's not my favourite, but I do want to use it up. I'm going to take it out for next month. I'll probably put it back in again in a few months' time. Pencil eyeliner, we have the Milani Stay Put, and this is in the shade Hooked on Espresso. I think I've only reached for this a couple of times this month, to be honest, because I've been finding the last few times I've worn it, it does give me panda eyes by the end of the day. I don't know if that's due to the heat at the moment and my eyes potentially being a bit more watery with allergies and things, and it does put me off wearing it. I also can't wear it when I wear my contact lenses because it does irritate my eyes. So to be honest, I think I'm going to take it out because there's no point it sitting in this drawer if I'm not going to reach for it. And I will go over eyeshadow palettes first of all. I will just go over the setting spray. So this is the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. I've had my eye on this for a while now and had been wanting to try it, but wanted to use the Urban Decay one I've had forever. I did actually go into the Morphe store that we now have in our city, so it was nice to be able to go in and actually test the spray. The one that I have doesn't seem to be as strong as the spray that I tried in the store, and I do feel like I have to get it quite close to my face to get the product on. I know it is supposed to be a really fine mist, but I do feel like I struggle with it slightly. So I don't know if that's the one in the store was stronger than it should have been, or this is a bad one, or what. But performance wise, it does definitely hold my makeup in place, and I do get a lot longer out of it. I really rate it. It's just the spray is not the best, and to be honest, I don't have another setting spray to put in for next month, so I think I'm just going to carry it forward to use it some more. Eyeshadow palettes wise, the first one we have is this little trio. It's not Makeup Forever. It is actually Colourpop and 2 Makeup Geek shadows. I've only reached for these a few times, but that's more than I had been reaching for them in the past few months because I just don't tend to reach for things like this. I just tend to reach for a full eyeshadow palette. This green is such a nice shade. If you've seen my recent clothing haul, I bought a pair of khaki casual pants and I wore this on my eyes the day I wore those pants, and it did kind of go really nice together. It was a good shade match in that respect. and I think I put some of this on the lid as well, so that was quite a nice combo with those pants. I haven't reached for this one an awful lot because it is quite dark. It is mainly these two I've reached for, but overall I do like these shadows and they do perform very well. I just need it as more of a whole palette. Then we have the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself eyeshadow palette. This is a 90% foil eyeshadow palette. There's one matte here which I never use, and then there's supposed to be a face highlighter in the middle, but I don't use that either. It's a bit too chunky to use as eyeshadow, but with regards to all these shades here, they are absolutely stunning. A nice little pop of colour just to complete a look, and I've been loving reaching for this so much, especially with the sort of bright sun we've been having. It's catch the light lovely. So to be honest, I think I'm actually going to keep this forward to next month because I'm really enjoying using it so much, and to me it is more of a summery palette. Then we have the Colourpop You Had Me at Hello palette. It is one of my favourite eyeshadow palettes. I really love the Colourpop formula. I do kind of wish I had more Colourpop eyeshadow palette, especially these £12 ones. I've reached for this one so many times over the course of the month. Probably the most days I've reached for at least one shade from here. I've definitely made a good use on this one as my kind of crease shade. We love the formula. Such a reasonable price for the quality of the shadows that you get, and I don't think you can go wrong with a Colourpop eyeshadow palette. The final palette is the BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. This is one that I did actually kind of regret buying because the shades in it are so bright, and it wasn't one that I was reaching for, but I'm so glad I put it in this drawer to make myself use it more, because I've definitely learned to love it that little bit more now. Yes, okay, I haven't used all of the shades in here because a lot of them are bright, and for me, I am mainly doing everyday makeup for work. I don't tend to go for these kind of shades here, but I have had a couple of nights out and events and things this month, and I have reached for the slightly brighter shades. Probably predominantly reached for these three here and possibly this gold here, Flash. I've reached for the shade Escape an awful lot. This is a gorgeous terracotta brown, which looks really nice in the kind of outer V. For the price I paid, I think I paid about £10 for it. I think I can get my money's worth out of it now. I've given it that little bit much more love, but there are some gorgeous shades in here, and I really rate the BH Cosmetics formula. They blend really nicely with regards to the mattes, and the shimmers are nicely pigmented and apply easily to your lid. The only issue I probably have is this shade Solstice does have a little bit of fallout in it, but nothing that can't be kind of wiped away anyway. I recommend this palette as well. I am glad that I picked it up because it did take me out of my comfort zone. Into mascaras. The first one we have is this Essence Lashes of the Day Super Volume Mascara. I really like this mascara. It does hold a curl for the majority of the day. It does make my lashes voluminous and also makes them longer as well. I do really recommend it, and I have actually brought it back up since that I will break into shortly. I just want to finish some other ones up first, but really recommend this, and there's not many bad mascaras I've tried from the brand Essence, to be honest. This one is now going to be going in the bin because I've had it open for a good while and I've used it enough that I'm happy to get rid of it now. Then we have the Benefit Bad Girl Bang Mascara. This is probably my favourite high-end mascara. I really like the effect that this gives. This gives me great length and also great curl. It's not really a volume mascara, but I don't always necessarily go for that. I do prefer length and curl in my lashes, but this is a great mascara and would highly recommend this. I've had, again, this one open for quite a while now, and towards the end and can go in the bin as well, but I would definitely repurchase this in the future. Then we have this Tarteist Lash Paint. This isn't my favourite mascara. I've tried quite a few different ones from Tarte now, and I don't think I've loved any of them. I didn't like the style of this packaging. It is only a kind of sample one. It just didn't shut properly, I feel like, so I wasn't, because I could keep turning that, so I didn't feel like it was the best. And this doesn't really do much for my lashes. It gives me a bit of volume, but it's smudgy one. I wouldn't pay full price for this, but I'm glad to have kind of finished it up because there's not much left in this either, so this one can go in the bin too. I have another one from Tarte. This is the Man-Eater mascara. The Man-Eater eyeliner is probably my favourite eyeliner of all time. Can't say the same about the mascara. It doesn't do much for my lashes at all. I get a little bit of volume and a little bit of length, and any curl that it does give me seems to drop quite quickly. There's still probably a bit of product left in here, but I'm not going to use it again, so I'm going to bin this one too. Then the final mascara is the Benefit Roller Lash. This was my favourite high-end mascara until the Bad Girl Bang replaced it, but still really rate this. This was one I just wanted to use up, and it didn't have as much left in it as I thought it did. I recommend this. I say I do prefer the Benefit Bad Girl Bang, but if you don't like that one, this one's got a bent one to it, so you might prefer this one a little bit more. And would potentially purchase this one in the future too. And finally on to the lip products. The first one is this Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink, and this one is in the shade Poet. This is probably my favourite drugstore liquid lipstick formula. I do really love it. It's probably the longest lasting lipstick that I own. It is a bit of a nightmare to get off for that purpose, but it does literally last all day, and if I know I'm not going to get a chance to reapply lipstick, I will wear one of these. This one is just not the shade for me though. It is a really light peach shade, and I don't tend to go for peach shades anyway. I do tend to prefer more nude or pinks than peach, but this is just too light. I've worn it numerous times to just test it out, and it just does not work for me at all. I think I'm going to do a large declutter soon, so I'll put it to one side and then it can be part of that then. But yeah, it's just not for me, the shade. Then we have this Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit, and this is in the shade Rebel Rose. Really love this lipstick. It is such a nice colour on me, just like a really nice rose pink or muted pink or dusky pink, whatever they think it's dusky pink. It is like a sort of mauvey undertones as well, but it's a really nice shade. I really like the formula of these. They are pretty long lasting and really comfortable to wear. It is such a lightweight formula. The only thing I have with this is you do have to kind of dip in the tube a few times to fully coat your lips, but it's not a major issue. Definitely consider purchasing more shades because they are so nice, and I think they're only about £5. So really recommend this, and I was actually going to take this forward to next month because I'm enjoying using it so much, but I have so many other lipsticks that I need to give some love to. So I am taking it out, but I do really enjoy using it. Then we have this one from Bella Pierre. This is the Kiss Proof Lip Cream, and I don't think this has a shade name, it just says Nude. I do not like this one at all. I think I got this in a Glossybox, I'm pretty sure. It just has the worst scent to it. It just smells so plasticky, and I've had lipsticks in the past that have been like that, which usually the smell, as soon as you've applied it, 5 minutes later the smell's gone. But not with this one. The smell sticks around for a good hour or so, and you can taste it on your lips for the majority of the day, I found. And it is a shame because the shade is really nice. It is kind of, it's like a lighter version of the Liquid Catsuit, but not too light, which is my personal preference. And it does kind of look like your lips but better. Just can't get past the smell and the taste of it. It lasts a decent amount of time as well. It does go a bit crusty after a few hours, but I've had that happen with a lot of liquid lipsticks and it doesn't overly bother me. I say I just can't get past the smell, so I think this is probably going to have to get decluttered too. Then we have a couple of Jeffree Star liquid lips. We have the shade Rose Matter, and then this one is Gemini, but this one's been through the tumble dryer. These have both now officially dried up. I've used every last drop of them. I think these ones tend to dry up a bit quicker than the full size ones. Obviously I know there's less product in them anyway, but my full size one of Celebrity Skin that I have has not come anywhere near drying up at all, whereas these started to dry up not long after I'd opened them. I'm still able to get product out of them, it's just obviously a bit drier of a formula than it should be, so it's not at its best. I didn't regret buying this set too much because it was a good way to try all the different shades that they had to then be able to make a choice for what to purchase in the future. Gemini is one of my favourites from this collection. Rose Matter is nice, but it's a bit too pink. They look pretty similar there, but this one, it comes out quite pink. It does actually remind me of my Pixie one that I have, which I can't remember the shade name of it now, but it is quite similar to that shade wise. It's quite a dark pink. Gemini is a really nice warm brown tone nude. So I do really recommend these. I do really like the formula of these, but I would say make a choice or just order one of the big ones because they don't seem to dry out as quick. But these are going to be now in my empties. And the next one we have is this Smashbox Be Legendary lipstick in the shade Primrose. This one is one that is in my project pan, but I am actually going to have to unfortunately take it out because it has died a terrible death. And I don't think it's to do with the temperature we've had here, because it started doing it towards pretty much the beginning of July when the weather wasn't that warm. But it's just in a real sorry state. It is just basically completely melted in the tube. I'm getting it everywhere, and every time I use it, it just leans and leans and it's on the verge of snapping. So I just, no matter how much I've even tried to take a lip brush to it, and that's how the kind of chip came off the side of it. So it's a shame because it is such a nice shade and I do really like the formula of this, but maybe the kind of getting towards the use by date, and I'm also not going to be able to finish it for my project pan, which is a bit disappointing because I was hoping I would be able to. I don't know whether to maybe subsidise it for another shade that's in a similar position. I'll see when I get to my next update, because this one's kind of been disqualified, as it were, and not been able to finish. But it's a really nice colour and a really nice formula. And then finally we have this Tarte Colour Splash lipstick. This one's in the shade Surf's Up. Another one's in my project pan, and it doesn't look much different from the beginning of the month, but I've used this quite a few times. I do really enjoy this lipstick. It's a really nice formula, really nice shade, and it is quite decently long lasting for a bullet lipstick. And to be honest, I think I'm going to stick this forward to August, because it's not going to get much use otherwise, and I am determined to now finish this one for my project pan, seeing as I can't use the Smashbox one. So now I'm just going to put back the products that I'm carrying forward. I think that's actually all I'm carrying over. So quite a few new things in. I'll start with this Goof Proof Brow Pencil. This is technically a carryover, but this is obviously a brand new one. So starting with my second foundation, I'm going to stick back in this Revolution Conceal and Define foundation. This is one that I did struggle with for the dry patches that I occasionally get on my forehead, but I've noticed that I've been quite oily the past month or so. So this one might fare a bit better now with the warm weather, me being a bit more oilier. I could also kind of pair it with the Cushion foundation as well and use both of them, and maybe apply a thin layer of that one on my forehead with this over. I'm not too sure yet. I'm going to have a kind of play around with it. But in this, I'm the shade F4. I do really like this formula on the rest of my face. It's just on my forehead it's not the best, so I do want to give it another go. I forgot to put my primer in. So this is the Cover FX Blurring Primer. This is one that I got in my Feel Unique samples. So I want to give this one a go, and the best place for it is in the everyday makeup drawer. And concealer wise, I'm going to stick back in my Liquid Camouflage from Catrice. This has been standing up because, as you can see, it's an absolute mess and it's leaked terribly. But I want to be able to use it up because it is probably one of my favourite concealers. So I want to stick this back in. I'll see how much it get used this month, and then I'm probably just going to get rid, to be honest, because I've at least used half of it, but it's getting a bit disgusting now. Then for blushes, the only one I've got left is the Tarte one. So for my kind of more dramatic blush, I'm going to stick in this one from 17. This one is in the shade China Pink and is quite a brighter pink shade. It is slightly cooler toned than the Frat Boy one, but it is quite pigmented, so I want to give this one a bit more use to see whether I prefer the formula of this or the Frat Boy, and if so I might declutter this one. And then for a secondary everyday blush to go with the Tarte one, I'm going to put in the e.l.f. one. This is in the shade Always Cheeky, and this is probably my only peach shade blush. Again, I did do a video on Friday with my whole blush collection if you are interested in seeing that, but I haven't used this one for a good while. For my other highlighter, I'm going to stick back in the Wet n Wild Mega Glow in the shade Blossom Glow. So this one is the kind of lighter, more pinky toned, summery one for me. So I want to put this one back in instead of the more bronzy one. I do have another concealer to stick in, actually, well, kind of. This is the First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado Concealer, and this is a sample that I got from Feel Unique as well. There are a few here that I think I will be able to make use out of, and again, the best place for it is in here to actually try it, so excited to give them a go. For setting powder, I'm going to stick in the Laura Mercier setting powder, and this is just in translucent. I used this for a good couple of months, but then I just stopped using it. Didn't really be bothered with the extra step. But having used the Maybelline Fit Me, I kind of got a love for setting powder all over again. So I want to give this one a go. I just might need to try and do something with how it comes out, because I really struggle to get it out of these holes. I might have to try and make them bigger or something, otherwise it'd take me forever to get the setting powder out that I need. And for mascaras, I've got a few more in my collection that I want to try and get finished up because they've been open for a while now, so I thought I'd put them in for this month. The first one is the Unlimited mascara, and this is from L'Oreal. This is the one with the bendy applicator. I didn't rate this one. It wasn't the best. It's not the easiest to store. It gave my lashes an okay effect, but I just want to see what it is like. It's definitely not one I'd repurchase, but I just want to use this one up. Then we have this Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir mascara. I think I quite like this one, but I can't remember, so I want to use this one again. We then have the Maybelline Snap Mascara. I really enjoyed using this one, I think, more so than I thought I would. I want to make sure I get full use out of this before it goes bad. And finally, the Colourpop BFF mascara. I can't remember where I stand with this one. It's been a while since I've used it. I think it was okay, but not the best, but want to put it in just to confirm my suspicions. And for eyeliner, I'm going to go for the Makeup Revolution Renaissance Flick eyeliner because I do really enjoy this one. Because I really enjoy using this one, so I wanted to use this up some more. My lipsticks. I'm putting quite a few in this month because I was being really indecisive. The first one I want to stick in is another one of these Smashbox ones. This is in the shade Audition. Because these were part of a set, I'm intrigued as to whether they're going to go bad at the same time, and I want to see how this one fares. It might be the one that I kind of replace it in the project pan, but we'll see how it goes. Then we have this Bite Beauty Amuse Bouche lipstick, and this one is in the shade Chutney. This one's a really nice shade and I just haven't reached for this one in a while, so I wanted to give this one some more love. Then we have this Dose of Colours liquid lipstick. This one's lost its label. Process of elimination, this is the only one out of the 4 that I have that the sticker's not on anymore, so I think this one is Stone. Really nice light pink shade, perfect for the summer months. Then we have this Night and Day lipstick from e.l.f. The nightshade is a hot pink, which I think I've used once and that's it. It was too hot pink for me, but I do really like the day shade, which as you can see I've used quite a bit of, so I just wanted to get some more use out of this because it is getting quite old. And I realised I have quite a lot of e.l.f. products in for August. Then we have this one from Larizzi. This is in the shade Tidal. I think I got this in some sort of subscription box and I think I've used it once and I can't remember what my thoughts were, so want to give it another go. And the final lipstick is one of the Sephora lip creams, and this one shade 23. These annoyingly don't have their names on them once you take the cellophane wrapper off, but really love this formula and I think I've got about 3 of these now. Then finally on to eyeshadows. The first one I want to stick in is actually a liquid eyeshadow, and this is one of the Essence Metal Shock eyeshadows. I think this is one of the things that I kind of picked up on a whim when I was in Canada because I wanted to try them, and I do really like using it. This is a really nice gold colour. They apply really nicely and I don't find that they crease on my eyelids, so I want to pull this one forward because it is a kind of nice thing to wear in summer. Then on for eyeshadow palettes. The first one I'm bringing in is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. I haven't used this in the longest time and I've kind of missed it, so I thought I would give this one some more love. Then the next 2 eyeshadow palettes are new to my collection and they are both from the brand Juvia's Place. The first one I picked up is the Nubian palette, I think that's how you say it. This is, I think, their first eyeshadow palette that they brought out, and it is just all neutrals, my kind of palette. They do have so many vivid palettes which I was drawn to, but if I was honest with myself, this is kind of what I go for, so I thought I would give this one a go. I've not actually worn this yet, I've only swatched it, but from the swatches the shades are so nice and the formula seems pretty good as well, so I'm excited to give this one a go. I did get this actually from the US site direct when they had, I think it was a 40% off sale. Shipping it here was no problem at all, and their shipping isn't even that expensive, especially coming from the US, and I still ended up paying a fraction of the price if I would have bought it direct from, say, Beauty Bay, where I think they're £30 each. I don't think I paid much more than £15–16. The final palette is the Saharan palette, again by Juvia's Place. This one is fresh out the box. I haven't even swatched this one yet. After picking such a neutral palette and liking how they swatched, I did want to try one with a little bit more colour in it, so I went for this one. It's still generally quite neutral, but this shade looks absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of like a duochrome petrol grey maybe, and then they've got like a brighter red and a bright orange in there as well, so this one is a bit more at my comfort zone. But they then had a 50% off sale, which is why I bought this one. And again, I think I probably paid £14 something, including shipping, and this one is another one that's £30 on Beauty Bay, so I couldn't turn it down because I've basically got 2 palettes for the price of I'd pay for one on Beauty Bay. So excited to give that one a go. Forgot to put the setting spray back. So that is it for my everyday makeup drawer for the month of August and going over my picks from July. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. Thanks.